Hello again, KeySet users. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the feedback principle of providing feedback follow-up. So what does this mean? I want you to take a moment and think back to your time as a learner, when you were in elementary school or high school. Did you prefer feedback that was provided to you in a written form? Comments on your work, ticks, crosses, corrections? Or did you prefer feedback that was provided to you orally? Well, turns out your own learners prefer oral feedback too. It's not to say that written feedback doesn't have its qualities. It's a record. It means that students can read what the teacher has said, it can note those mistakes, and they can come back to them when they're performing a similar task. So that element of record is important because they're able to revisit it. However, as one participant in my own feedback research noted, this feedback can come across as cold in a manner of speaking. It misses that relational element that oral feedback gives. Now, oral feedback comes with its challenges too. Once that conversation has occurred, the moment is gone. The student can't revisit it. However, into studies of feedback or different forms of feedback, comparing written and oral feedback outperforms written feedback in regards to its influence on achievement. The reason is that teaching is a business of relationships. It's about trust. It's about a learning community. It's about building those relationships, that rapport. In the social learning environment of the classroom, feedback follow-up is key. The KeySet platform is a great tool and a great mechanism and vehicle for you to provide really effective, high-level feedback to your learners. But in order to optimize that feedback, we need to provide that feedback follow-up. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, after a feedback experience or an assessment task has been returned and students have been given the opportunity to engage in their feedback, we might engage in some sort of plenary or class discussion in which questions are able to be asked and you're able to clarify those misconceptions. The other thing that's worked for me is by having, say, a question box in which students can post questions anonymously. In doing so, this takes away the risk of putting your hand up and bearing your soul and feeling somewhat awkward in front of your peers. Remember that the questions that you answer to higher level students will also be of benefit for students below them. In the classroom, questions asked by lower level students may also stimulate that ability to self-regulate and self-monitor in higher level students. The other thing that's really important is just that informal check-in. You know your learners. You know the ones that may be vulnerable. You know the ones that might need that little bit of encouragement. You know the learners who have made the same mistakes over a series of tasks. Check in with them informally. Provide those guides, those little suggestions, the tips, the hints. Build that rapport. The other thing you want to do is if you see a common error, rather than correcting it on every student's work, use this feedback opportunity as a formative assessment opportunity. Reteach something. Teach a masterclass. Bring the group together and develop their collective capacity. And as always, reiterate the learning goals that are aligned with that task. As always, the KeySet team have a great array of resources to support you in doing this, so make sure you check them out.